I start by sketching out my mountain range with a pencil, and I'm using a ruler here just to help me keep the general shape of the mountain level while I create a range of peaks. Next, I'm creating a wash of color, and I'm using permanent rose, I'm using a copper color and an interference green, and I'm mixing it with a lot of water. And then I'm going to the mountain range and I'm going right up to the pencil mark using a round brush, and I'm tightly adding the color right next to the line and then pulling the color upward to create that pink hue in the sky. So I'm really trying not to go past the pencil mark. I want my mountains to stay white. So even though the video is really sped up, I'm actually taking my time and placing the tip of my brush close to that pencil line, as close as I can get it, before pushing the color upward. Next, I'm making my blue tone and I'm adding a grayish brown to the blue to mute it a little bit more. And I'm going to grab my big mop brush, and I've loaded that with water. And now I'm going in and adding the blue color to the sky. And I want it to be really watery so that it fades and blends easily into the pink tone. And I'm just laying that down all over the canvas. You can see I keep adding water to it. And now I've taken that color down into the pink, and I'm working on blending the pink to the blue a little bit more, using water to blend. And now going back to the pink shade, I've made a darker version of the pink shade using the same colors of permanent rose, copper, and a little tiny bit of the interference green. And I'm just going back in, and it's like a layer over layer. So I go pink, then blue, then pink, then blue, trying to get them to blend more seamlessly together. Next, I'm playing with adding a little bit of pink up into the blue, adding a little bit of pink to the blue, making sort of a purple color. And right now is just playtime. I'm just exploring whether I want it to look modeled like it does right now with a lot of clouds, or if I'm going to choose a different type of skyline. And as you can see, this is a really meditative process. One thing I will say is I keep working with the paper while it's wet, and you can kind of see my washi tape on the upper corner of the screen is starting to lift away from the paper, and the paper itself is starting to buckle a little bit. And depending on the quality of your paper, you might get a lot of buckling because of the water, or a little bit. So what I'd recommend to prevent that is to put a layer down and let it dry. Like I've done here, you can see that the paint underneath has dried down. This will allow the buckling to stop. And I'm just continuing here to sort of play with the line between the two colors. I'm seeing if I want it to have sort of a speckled look. And again, I'm just pushing paint around, trying to create various tones in the blue itself. So here's kind of a cool trick. You can take a little bit of white watercolor paint, and white watercolor paint doesn't actually turn it white, but what it does is it creates sort of a cool muted effect. And so I'm mixing the white with the pink, and I'm creating sort of a soft pastel color, and I'm putting it right at the line to just see what that does. Cool thing about skies is skies do everything. So there's no wrong way to paint a sky. And now I'm adding a little bit more of a purpley color into the sky to see. I like the way that looks. And I'm really just playing here. I'm just experimenting with the shades of pink I've made. I'm experimenting with the blues. I'm adding a little bit of a purple. Now I've decided to be really bold and take some of that coppery pink and put it right in the middle, see what that looks like and what it would do with the blue. I think I'm watching it. I'm not really I didn't really love what happened with that, so I decided to just kind of move it around. Now I've taken a flat brush and I'm just like, nope. I decided I didn't want it to be as modeled looking as it was. I wanted it more of a settled sky, so just wet the flat brush here, and I'm dragging it across the wet paint. Now going in with my mop brush again, I'm taking a bunch of the darker blue and I'm putting that in, and I'm kind of doing the same modeling effect, but trying to do it in a bigger kind of glob so that the modeling is a little bit more even across the picture. Once the watercolor has dried, I'm taking white gouache and I'm flicking it onto the canvas. I started with a bigger brush which made these big dots, and I'm taking my finger and going over the big dots and I'm blending them out, and this makes a cool like bokeh look. Or bouquet, I never know how to say that word, but it gives it sort of a glow. And then I'm taking my white gouache with a fine tip brush and I'm going in and I'm painting stars in those areas. And now I'm taking a black Sharpie and I'm outlining my mountain range. And as you can see, I've made a couple of different like valleys in the mountain. And this is an important part, so I'm going in and I'm drawing shading lines. And I want you to notice that all the lines are going in the same direction across the mountain range. And all the valleys are on the same side. I have them to the right side of each mountain peak. And now we take off the washi tape and see what it looks like. Thank you for watching. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so that you know the next time I release a new video. Until then, stay magical.